Hello, I'm Bernard Hickey from interest.co.nz and welcome to a special investing report brought to you in association with Bank of New Zealand, where we bring you news today that South Canterbury Finance, which started in 1926, was put into receivership just after 9:30 this morning. Run by Alan Hubbard, it has become a major financial institution, particularly in the South Island rural economy. It has over $1.75 billion worth of loans outstanding to many farms, small businesses and individuals. It also owes investors more than $1.6 billion, but they're covered by the government guarantee. The government announced this morning it will pay out around about $1.6 billion to 35,000 investors. This is a good thing, I think. It means that the government has control of South Canterbury Finance, that there can be no question that the taxpayer is subsidising any private investor, or that any private investor is doing anything untoward with the assets in between now and any time they were put into receivership. Many investors, particularly those in strategic finance, Hanover Finance, St Lawrence, would have much preferred now to have put those finance companies into receivership earlier rather than later. Instead, they went through a no man's land of moratorium, where all sorts of things happened, which I'm sure they would have preferred didn't. South Canterbury Finance will not be in that situation. It is effectively a failed institution, a zombie institution which is now being put out of its misery. This unfortunately will cause some pain now, but I think it's better than a lot more pain later. It means that many of those people with loans to South Canterbury Finance will have to pay back those loans quite urgently. Some may not be able to do that. Some may be forced to sell their farms or businesses. Now, the basic problem here is that particularly conversions of dairy farms in the South Island took on too much debt. South Canterbury Finance provided a good chunk of that debt. It itself owns a third stake in Dairy Holdings, which has 72 dairy farms. It is the largest provider of milk to Fonterra, and there is now a significant question over the ownership of that one-third stake. Aorangi Securities, a separate company controlled by Alan Hubbard, which is now in statutory management, owns or controls a further 25 dairy farms or has major loans to those farms. They may too also be asked to sell up. That may drive rural land prices and particularly dairy land prices down in Canterbury, particularly for irrigated farmland, which some may argue is marginal. This is a seminal event in the history of New Zealand farming and, to an extent, the New Zealand economy. The government has decided not to extend and pretend that a zombie institution can rely on a bounce in land prices to get itself out of trouble. The government, I think, has done the right thing. I'm Bernard Hickey. That was a special investing report brought to you in association with the Bank of New Zealand, and those, of course, are my personal views.